That box is not here for a good reason. Watch this clip. You see that? There's absolutely no gap between the grill and the tank. And you can see how the grill is piercing the tank. The decal is coming off. Just look at the width of the tank. You can clearly see the bulge on either sides. This side as well. This side it's more evident. The decals totally come off. I mean, the grill has tore into the decal, and there's a clear bulge here, and here as well, if you see. So yeah, that's the problem, and the bike won't even start. The battery is totally gone. See, so first things, I have to change the battery now and then think what to do next. And hence a brand new tank and a brand new battery. Now, why all of this? This is the story. So this is the story of how I almost killed my Royal Enfield Himalayan. So if you're my subscriber for the past 2 years, you know that I went to Ladakh in August of 2021, came back mid-September, and then the bike has just been sitting in the house. I did not ride it at all. Rode it very little. So after I came back, I started working. So I did not have the time. And then I moved to Mysore. I took the bike with me, thinking that I'll ride it on weekends at least. Again, that did not happen. I just did a couple of very small rides, like a day ride. And then again, the bike was just sitting there. And then I moved back to Ballari. Since it was work from home, I was just moving around. Here though, I didn't even have company, so the bike was just sitting in the compound catching dust for close to a year, so more than a year actually. So one day while I was working, I got a recommendation on YouTube about a Himalayan. Then I told myself, yes, even I have a Himalayan, I should take a look at it. I go down, I tried to start the bike, obviously did not start. The battery was low. And then I called a mechanic, he lives right next to my house. We pushed the bike, it started, and then I just took a spin around and then came into the compound, parked it, and I thought I'll just leave the engine running for at least like 10 or 15 minutes and then switch it off. And then I forget about it for the next 3 hours. For 3 hours, just imagine, for 3 hours the bike is just standing with its engine on. So what happened in this process was the heat that's emitted out of the engine started heating up the fuel tank, and the fuel started heating up. I remember after 3 hours, I ran down. I remember I was tensed. I run down. I look at the bike, and from a distance, I could figure out that the fuel tank was a little bulged. And from a distance, I took a step back and I opened the fuel tank, and the boiling petrol just burst out of it. If I was standing at least a 1 inch uh, in front of 1 inch further, boiling petrol would land on my face, and I don't know what would have happened. Luckily, I was a bit further from the fuel tank, and I opened it, and it just burst. I remember, and most of it spilled over at the tank itself, and some went onto the windshield, like I showed you in the windshield what happened. And then some of the leaves on the tree caught fire. Not big fire, it just burned the leaves over there. And then I almost cried. I took care of this bike like a baby. Back in the day, of course, in 2019, 2020, I used to take care of it like a baby, and ruining it with my own hands, it was very painful. And then next day I went to the service station here in Bellary, the Royal Enfield authorized service center. I'll tell you about them in just a minute. I tell them what all happened, and they checked the bike, and I went in the evening to collect the bike, and they told luckily nothing has happened to the engine. The engine is absolutely fine, the fuel pump is absolutely fine, but the fuel tank is gone. I was okay with it. I was okay with the fuel tank, so I told, okay, I'll just take some time, because the fuel tank is a little expensive. I told myself, I'll take a couple of months off, and then I'll buy the fuel tank and do it. Again, I forgot about it. This happened, by the way, in December of 2022. I mean, the last year. Today it's April 24th, and then I moved to Bangalore. In the traffic, I saw two Himalayans just zoom by, and then I told myself, what have I done? The next day I go to Royal Enfield Service Center, purchase a tank, I get it to Bellary. Now the problem is, the Royal Enfield Authorized Service Center, they won't fit my tank. So quick update, I went to the Royal Enfield Service Center and they agreed to fit my tank. There's this guy called Mujib here, absolutely helpful. So I requested him, I told him that this is what I spoke on the phone with somebody. He told, if you have the invoice, I'll try to speak with the manager. He spoke with somebody and they might do it. I'm taking the tank now with me. Yes, so that's happening. I'll keep you posted, whatever happens. Okay, between the last shot and now, it's been a week. I had to go back to Bangalore in the car and then come back. So yeah, after the last shot, I was a little busy, so couldn't shoot anything. So this is how the old tank looks like. I'm pretty sure it's not visible on camera, but look at this. Look at this indent. The what is that called? The tank guard just pressed against it when this expanded, and this side as well. It's completely ripped the decal apart, and you can see the bulge here. I don't know if you can see it, but there is a big bulge over here. Yeah, it's pretty beaten up. That's it. I'm pretty sure it's not visible on camera. You can't just compare it with the actual tank, but yeah, it's a little wider than the original tank.